I think the big question with this news of Kathleen Kennedy allegedly stepping down at the end of this year is, well, can Star Wars recover and can stuff be good again? Since the news dropped, I have scoured the internet. I have seen everything. All the takes. It's been, things are going to be great. Nah, it's too late. Things are going to be terrible. Things are the best they are now. Why would we do this? My take is, well, no. I don't think with any sort of reconstruction, any sort of management change, any sort of anything that Star Wars can, I don't know, really be fixed. That it can recover. And I don't say that to be cynical. I don't say that to be toxic or hateful. I say that because in my young fan heart, there's one big glaring thing that Star Wars is doing, that Disney is doing. Well, I don't see that changing. It's that there's no consistency in Star Wars anymore. I don't mean in terms of storytelling or continuity within movies or what have you. I mean consistency in terms of eras and storytelling, I guess. I think back to when I was introduced to Star Wars. I was introduced before the prequels came out. I followed the story of the OT, then the prequels came out, and it was very simple. This stuff takes place way before Luke Skywalker. Cool, great. Again, say what you will about the sequels, there that is. That is a timeline of something that's happening. All us fans are paying attention to one story. This is the only Star Wars we have. This is what we're paying attention to. Our butts are in seats. We are watching the story. We are getting invested in it for the first two, I would say. This is the story that's being told. These are the characters. We're following Anakin's story, Luke's story, Rey, but Finn, but Kylo's story. Following our hero's journey. And then, after all that, we get Din. For 2 seasons, we're following the Mandalorian, this gunslinger, this man who's part of a coven, part of a cult. We're following his story from ruthless bounty hunter to softened father figure for 2 seasons. It's great. And then we start following Bo and Ahsoka. And then we're following Cassian Andor. Then we start following Osha and May. And now we're going to jump 15 years into the future, post sequels, to follow Rey again. But don't worry, soon we're going to be going thousands of years back to see the first Jedi story. Are you seeing what I'm saying now? The thing that's hurting Disney and Star Wars the most, in my opinion, is that they are not telling one consistent story in one era. In my opinion, what they should have been doing since The Mandalorian is bridging that gap between the OT and the sequels. Obviously, COVID had a huge impact on how we were consuming media. Movies weren't really a thing anymore. Streaming and TV shows are the thing that's in. But again, now you've given Star Wars fans options. I remember a time when you could not miss out on something Star Wars, whether it be a toy, a trailer, a show like the Clone Wars or Rebels, a movie. You had to be there. And I think it's completely failed, since now people have options. Oh, I don't care about this character, I'm not going to watch it. I'll just wait for the next Star Wars thing to come out. People don't like Din Djarin. Okay, let's follow Boba Fett's story. Oh, well, they struck out with Boba Fett. Cool, great. In a little bit, we're going to have an Ahsoka show. Okay, I don't like Ahsoka. Let's just wait for Osha and May to come out. Let's watch The Acolyte now. Oh, okay, that's not doing very well. Well, let's wait until 2026 when we get the Rey movie. You see what I mean? And I'm not talking about forcing people to like a character. I'm saying let's get invested in one character. Let's follow Din Djarin's story fully. Let's follow Ahsoka's story fully. For the next 10 years, bridge that gap between OT and sequels. Obviously, what they're doing now is they are just meshing so many characters together to fight a big bad guy, much like the formula of the MCU. And that is what is going to hurt them. Destroying characters' arcs that we love in favor of giving us an appearance from a character we liked from that one thing 20 years ago, in my opinion, is not something that's going to help the franchise. My hottest take is that not every Star Wars character needs their own spin-off. Not every Star Wars character needs to be a main character. Not every villain needs to be humanized and understood and seen as the victim. Bad guys can just be bad. Side characters can just be side characters. Main characters need to be main characters. Another hot take, Boba Fett was fine just being a badass who beat people up and wore cool armor. Yes, we got his backstory and we got Temuera Morrison back to reprise the role of Boba Fett. But in my opinion, after he helped out Din in season 2 and dipped out into hyperspace, that should have been the last we saw of him. Anyway, reeling it back in, that to me is what I feel is going to hurt Star Wars the most and that it can't recover from, because so many things are flopping. They are just throwing everything at the wall and seeing what is going to stick, at the expense of telling one consecutive story, letting a story flourish, and obviously wanting to sell merch. Now, I know this sounds a little complainy or greedy or whatever, because I know that people will say, we're getting so much Star Wars, you should just be happy with what we're getting. My thing is, we really don't need to be getting so much Star Wars. Star Wars was completely fine telling one story over the course of a certain amount of years, letting that sink in, letting people enjoy it and love it, and then moving on to the next story. But I don't know. I'm just a guy on the internet in a Mandalorian helmet. But thank you for dropping into this video. If you liked what you saw, want to see more, let me know down below. And I'll see you all in the next one. Till we meet again, friends.